It is very, not a good experience living life on earth is what Hindus believe to the core. So breaking the cycle of reincarnation and, attaining moksha is the end goal of any Hindu who believes in it.
Right. But do you enjoy life on Earth?
I do enjoy that from it. I want to continue with it.
Not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it could be worse. This is a learning experience for me to learn that, one, I didn't know the Buddhist reference for end in samsara was actually more referred to as moksha. I always thought it was nirvana. And that moksha is the same for Hinduism. So both Buddhism and Hinduism believe in moksha as heaven.
Yeah.
Same reference there. And then I also learned that they're more about breaking the cycle. Christianity says you go to hell. I guess in some sense then Hindus believe this somewhat is hell. A very good version of hell, I guess. But from a scientific standpoint, this is my culmination of, I feel like all of religions all have the same narrative going on, which is we're not in the best place in the world we can be. It's somewhat like a divine game or simulation created by someone. We need to do the right life path in order to break that cycle or exit the negativity and enter eternal positivity. Now, if we actually just think scientifically about this, it's pretty cool that it lines up, which is in the future, let's imagine even us do create utopia and we create a super powerful AI and we birth new children into this utopia. Well, actually, those children, that would be a hellish place for them because unless you know dystopia, we cannot develop utopia. It's just to be born into heaven is to be born with the opportunity to earn moksha. You can't be born straight into moksha. You have to go outside of moksha first. You have to earn moksha because the act of fulfillment, of earning something, is a part of why then you have eternal gratitude and fulfillment from the experience and reward of that thing. The material version of understanding that is somewhat just the fact that you can have a billionaire's son who's depressed. Even though they have all the money in the world, they didn't earn it themselves. They didn't struggle. They never got to build themselves on top of it. Now, of course, with the money side, there are still billionaire sons who are quite happy, but it's a big difference between utopia. If you're born into an environment where you literally have all the time in the world, where you have eternality, and you never need to fear stopping, you'll never be able to appreciate life or the value of time. So this is necessary training wheels that if we just think scientifically completely, if we say, oh, let's talk to an atheist and talk about their viewpoints, then, think, say, 200 years in the future, what are we going to do to birth new children? We would actually just tell our super intelligent AI, or it would solve this for us. Agentic. That's one question that's about AI is, can we make one that, or should we even make one that's fully agentic? Or should we have it be more of democratized based on what humans want? Or even can we? Can we make machines which fully can take end goals? The problem is if we give it any big goal, like make as many paper clips as it can, then we get turned into paper clips. So we definitely need to make sure we give it a good goal, having us still be here and alive. Now, the interesting thing, imagining this utopian style place, Timmy doesn't appreciate it. He was born into utopia. He doesn't do anything. He thinks everything's worthless. I wish Timmy got to experience what it was like when it was hard and difficult. So all right, wipe Timmy's memory a little bit. What we're going to do is, hey, go craft a reality, build a bunch of NPCs, stick them, make it seem like just like the same thing we went through, put Timmy on a new planet, and this is preschool. We're sending him to preschool. And the funny thing is, we might look at that and be like, preschool is not 80 years of life, but at this point, we're talking about literally people living for eternity. That's what moksha is. So that means the same way preschool for us, we think about we're sending my kid to preschool for a couple of years. It's like 2% of their life. 2% of 100,000 is an insanely long time. 2% of infinity isn't infinite.
Yeah.
So this being some sort of preschool of civilization or race, which just lives a very long time, even in our own universe type frame of like they were here a million years before us, then they've already done that. So that's a fun theory that I think I like to explore with atheists in it because it's a scientific, probable thing that we are more likely in like a galactic preschool. Because this is another question. We're like, okay, there's 100 billion stars in our solar system. There's 100 billion galaxies. Why are we have no signs of intelligent life? Like we've scanned, we've looked through it all, and it's like, that's part of the illusion. So you have to play the game. And then once we're born, once we finish stuff and they'll become our best selves, because at the end of the day, reality is going to get a lot more interesting. Like we are born in the literal most interesting part, like That seems a little bit too coincidental. I think that should bring any atheist out of atheism, is like, oh yeah, you're just the one part of the species time when they have a chance to go from mortal to immortal. Like, okay, don't you think there might be something deeper here? And if there's not, then you should be freaking the fuck out daily trying to save humanity as much as you can. Because this would then be the most ultimate gift and blessing. That's the weirdest thing for me for atheists. I don't understand atheists.
So I believe that this is the most pivotal moment in human history that ever has been and there ever will be.
Yeah, I mean, once you attain moksha, once you create super intelligence, you take away the value of human free will. So we are rapidly approaching the time from which our actions do not matter. Taking on then the idea that, for example, good karma is something that we agentically can go and try to obtain by taking actions in the world, then good karma will run out. Once every human has done everything good and that it's a great place, there's no more good left to do for us. And good karma is running out for a lot of people in terms of the way that they used to think about, I think, doing good for the world. Just the karma landscape was changing as we build a super intelligence. But these ideas and these discussions, I like that they're on video because I believe that as the world gets crazier and crazier, I forget which things I used to talk about that are now like, maybe Bitcoin was one of them, or cryptocurrency. When I was first like nothing, I was in high school trying to talk to my friends about it, and it was like, what is this guy on? You know, but that's obviously people who bet on the right futures do really great in life. You know, if you can fathom where the future's going, I think it's becoming very obvious to everybody that we are entering strange futures. That AI is very powerful, that it's getting stronger very quickly, but that's just going to become more and more of an ever-pressing problem that's going to have all of these deeper philosophical questions about life re-emerge into people talking about it, because I made it helpful, especially once people can't work, they're going to have to theorize and build a coherent philosophy that makes them excited to be here. I do think that'll be the majority of it. I think the majority of people will be excited. It is important that all of the goodness that people feel is pushed against the actual evil that exists in the real world. That can't be denied. I see a lot of religious people who are in that happy-go-lucky mood, just like going to festivals and like having fun, like they've already on the path to obtaining that great future. And I'd say for two reasons that's silly. One, you can only farm as much good karma as you can now. So it's like, if you really believe you're going to have an eternity of good, that spend your time now while there is people who are suffering, helping them suffer. You are believing then that every single person you're meeting on the street is going to be royalty, kings and queens of the universe. Like, we will all be rich. We will all have all the shit in the world for hundreds of thousands of years. So your opportunity right now to go get them something and be nice to them and shift their timeline so they can respect you now, then you have an eternity of them respecting you. And then the other side of it is, you can't just believe salvation is there for you. There is evil in the world. There are people suffering. There are people who want to use AI to control people. You know, it's not guaranteed that we go to moksha from this AI stuff. It might be first there's a totalitarian evil people who use AI and then control everyone, and it's shitty. But we can change which path we go into, you know? And that's what my party on the moon is, a mass. For the masses, it's a attractor point. It's a sexy version of moksha or heaven or utopia. Because if you go try to tell people who are not into moksha or heaven or utopia to come try and help build towards moksha or heaven or utopia, it gives them a little bit of an ick factor for some reason. And so when you tell them that we're throwing a party on the moon, or you help setting it up, then they're on, really, it's a gateway drug towards believing in heaven and a magical future and working towards. Tricked. We're still going to throw the party on the moon. That is still magical and fun with them. All right, everyone, welcome to moksha. We're going to head up to the moon real quick for a ceremony. It'll be a good old time. Everyone gets 60,000 square feet of moon space. You can use your super intelligent robots to build your own section of the party, artworks, experiences, whatever you want. You actually, if you divide the moon out by every single person on the planet, every person gets 60,000. But that's so much space, especially when you think about skyscrapers that we can each build on that space. 30-mile-long man cave, different floors, probably 800 floors. However many floors still would reach magma. Well, at this point, we can probably cool down the magma with our supernova. Plus, why are we really saying divvy up the Earth? At this point, we can start divvying up other planet sectors too. Everyone gets a planet. Or we're going to use the planets to birth new beings and terraform them. I don't know, but it's going to be pretty cool. All I know is that if you think about these things and try to keep them in your perspective at all, it makes the idea of devotion towards the highest power that you can think of really, really easy, because it's just like, yo, this is the time. This is the time to just send it for yourself, to become a man, become a woman, become that thing that you should become. Just to be strong, just to have courage, just to have strong virtues, to become your highest self, and to capture that, to search for that. Part of becoming your higher self is hounding and finding the higher self and talking about it, pushing your friends towards it, and talking about these things, and just having a really good vibe.